Hey guys, welcome to another MapleStory 2 video, and this one's going to be a live commentary video, which means I'm going to be making a video on the fly, basically, with you guys. Hope you don't mind. Main reason for this is if you didn't check the community post I posted on my channel, Thanksgiving break is going to be coming this week, and I do want to take some time off, but I don't want to leave you guys completely without any videos for the next week, which means what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a ton of videos on scheduled upload, so you guys have something to watch over the holiday. But normally, because you know how I make my videos, I like to write a script, I like to properly edit them down, and I like to have like much more structured, kind of like post-production commentary videos. Those take a while, about maybe 3 or 4 hours for like shorter videos, or maybe even more. I might do a mix of both, or I might make every video I do be live commentary, at least for this coming week, so I hope you don't mind. But I think let's get right into it, and today I'm going to be showing you guys the progress on my assassin, also how I like to build him, and show you my equipments and stuff. So there's gonna also be an assassin guide coming out in the future, and I hope you guys are looking forward to that. Also, I don't have a proper microphone set up for live commentary, because usually what I do is I just like, when I'm talking in my videos, I'm not like touching the keyboard or anything. I'm just like sitting there and kind of like reading off a script. Although I do try to make it sound like I'm not reading a script and try to make it as natural as I can. But for the most part, my microphone is just on the table, which means I don't have like a proper mic arm. At least for now, because I don't know a good place to put it. I'm in a college apartment, so not like the greatest situation for my, for gaming. But apart from that, I think if you hear any like thumping or whatever, I do apologize. That's just because my microphone's right between me and my keyboard. I'll figure something out, guys. Don't worry. All right. Anyways, let's get right into it. So, after a very long, tedious, arduous, how many fire dragons have I done? Let me see. 184 fire dragons. I finally managed to get both my weapons to plus 15, and I'm like, yes, I don't ever have to do that dungeon ever again. Woo, okay. Alright, so let's get right into it. Start off with, I guess, my hat. So I've been able to get my character, and actually Noctis as a whole, our guild, we've been getting stronger and stronger to the point where now we can start taking out Chaos Dvorak without too many issues. I think actually we're up to a point where we can start carrying like one person whenever we want to. And I was able to pick up the pieces that Chaos Dvorak drops, I believe. So he drops the hat, gloves, and boots. Chaos Moonlight Fortress, I think he drops the top and the bottom, right? Let me check. See what he got. Alright. Moonlight Fortress, he only drops, he only drops the hat and the bottom, top and the bottom. And Ludibrium will drop the weapons. So they will not be giving us any legendary accessories anytime soon, which means I'm going to be working on keeping those in. But anyways, let's get right into it. My hat is plus 7 and it has 2% boss damage. I got pretty lucky. I was able to get a boss damage roll in 3 changes. Which means if I get a reroll scroll, then I should be able to get this to a bit of a higher boss damage. The way it works is that if you were to change attributes normally like this, you will get basically completely random attributes. Of course, if you have a attribute lock scroll, you can maintain a certain one. But if you have a reroll scroll, on the other hand, that will give you the exact same attributes but just different numbers. Which means now if I ever get a reroll scroll, I can get more than 2% boss damage. My Savagery necklace is 2.5 piercing, 1% boss. I'm currently, now that I finished Fire Dragon, I can actually start going into other hard mode dungeons like Beyond Link Triss for the belt and the ring, as well as Lubelisk for the pendant. The main reason why I switched back to Savagery, even though before you saw all of my gears purple, is because I was building my character wrong. I focused only on accuracy and attack damage, and I didn't really worry too much about piercing and boss damage or even crit damage. And I was in like kind of a bad spot, but I found out later that it's okay to go back to Savagery just to get like better stats, because the only thing accessories really give are just more defense. But in Dvorak, most of the things kill you in one shot anyway. So it doesn't really matter what you build. That's why I decided to go back to Savagery, at least for the time being. And then now I'm going to slowly work my way back to Absolute. Also, because I was stuck in Fire Dragon for a good like month and a half, which means I couldn't... Well, actually, this game's only been out for a month and a half, but I've been stuck in Fire Dragon for a long time, so I wasn't able to really pick up any other absolute accessory except the earrings, and I have like 288 fragments. But yeah, we'll get there slowly and fix those. So 2.5% piercing and 1% boss, not too bad. My top has 4% boss damage, and I never really bothered to get it past plus 10 because I do know there are some people who have been trying to go for plus 12, plus 13 on their armor pieces. They could do that, that's fine. I don't, because I'm going to be doing CMOC soon anyway. Same with my pants, I got 4% boss damage. I got pretty lucky. The top I rerolled 9 times and I got boss damage on the bottom. I got 6 times for 4% boss, that's 8% right there. So currently we have 11% boss damage. Now my cape is 70 critical damage and 3% piercing. On an assassin, critical damage is much more important than other classes, just because we have Fatal Strikes, which gives us a 100% crit rate for 17 seconds, which means that increasing your critical damage is going to be very important. And I don't have too much. A lot of assassins, like the top tier ones, they have 200% crit damage. So I'm definitely working on it. I think it says it can't exceed 250, yeah, so around like 200 is a good amount for you to pick up. It's about the same importance as boss damage. You still want to make sure your piercing and physical piercing are good, but I'll get more into that later. But there we have 3% piercing, 70 crit damage. My first weapon is 1.6 piercing, 5.2 physical piercing, which is now it's plus 15. My second weapon is 1.3 piercing, 5.4 physical piercing. In retrospect, I would have gotten just piercing and then, or like I would have gotten physical piercing and then crit damage or something, because 1.3 piercing is not really too much, whereas opposed to, let's say, getting like 170 crit damage. So I think if I could have rerolled this, I would have, but I was like already too far in and I didn't want to like switch out a weapon completely. But ideally, yeah, you don't really need, getting piercing on an offhand weapon is not really that important, or at least like one. You should get piercing on one of them, but the other shouldn't, because critical damage and boss damage, or even dark damage, is good too. My boots is 5 physical attack. I've rerolled it 4 times now. It's not really cooperating too much, which means I might have to get another one. I'm going to try to go for boss damage on that as well. My ring is 2.5% piercing and 0.5 dark damage. I'm going to try to go ahead and I'm going to start doing Beyond Link Tryst to get absolute rings. I have this one right here, or I have 2 actually. And this one is 130 crit damage, and I could reroll these, but the thing is that I'm kind of short on green crystals, which is what you would use for in rerolling accessories. So I think I'm just going to like farm a whole bunch of Beyond Link Tryst to try to see if I can get those. Oh, I also have an absolute pendant here. It has 3% physical piercing, but that's too low. I'm going to try to go for one with piercing and boss damage or something. My gloves, I just got it, and it doesn't have very good attributes right now, but the only reason why I'm equipping it is because it gives me 10 spirit and 250 bonus attack. Actually, does it show here? Yeah, 110. I will reroll it to get physical piercing because my old gloves had 6%, which is quite a bit. The only unfortunate part is that now I lost quite a bit of physical piercing, but I feel like 250 attack is a bit better. And of course, in the future, as we go along, I will be able to reroll this for physical piercing. One of my guild members actually got max physical piercing on the gloves for his class when he rerolled it. Or actually, no, he didn't reroll it, he actually just got it straight up, which was really... I mean, I'm happy for him, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't jealous. Oh well. The stronger a guild gets as a whole, the better. Savagery Belt, 40 crit damage, 3% boss. Once again, I'll be doing the Beyond Link Tryst to get both the ring and the belt. And then I'll be doing Lubellis to get the cape and the pendant. Now my earrings, apart from my weapons, this is probably my favorite item. It has 160 crit damage and 3% piercing. I wish it was 30% piercing. And it also has a couple gemstones. To my knowledge, someone has brought up the point that once you reach plus 15 and plus 15 on your weapons, you want to actually go for main stats, so like luck, which means I might take those off and put in luck gemstones. I don't quite think it's like worth it right now, but that's like a thought. Okay, anyways, so for my stats here, I have 5983 attack, 324 physical, I have 13.9% piercing without the house buff, I have 17.9, so 18% piercing with the house buff. We assassins, we don't really get that much piercing compared to like a berserker who has it passively in their kit, so that does kind of suck, but we do have critical hits, which is like, that's what we have going for us. You want to max out your piercing as much as you can. Physical piercing, ideally you want to get up to 16.5%, I believe, or 16.6, which is, I had that before when I switched to my gloves. Where is it? It is, but I lost a lot of attack from the set effect of having 3 legendary items of the panic set, which is why I'm keeping that for now. Accuracy is at 87. It's a bit on the low side, although I don't think that really matters too much into Vorak. Against C-Block, I think you do want a bit more, although I'm currently working on making sure my gemstones come up. But the thing is, I want to get the absolute accessories before like I start putting gemstones in for the time being. Like this one, I have no problem with upgrading the gemstones because this is probably going to stay here for a while. But the savagery gear I'm going to be replacing soon, which is why I don't really care too much about putting better stuff on them. My critical damage is 152%, which is not bad. 27 is pretty good, although you do want more. I think for an assassin you want to be at least 180% or a little higher. Maybe 200% is actually better, or if you can go all the way to 250. but you do not want to sacrifice piercing, physical piercing, or boss damage to increase your critical damage. Like, critical damage is important, but it's not the be-all end-all. Piercing is going to be first, and then probably boss damage, and then critical damage. Physical piercing, not so much, because it's more situational, though it's still good to have a little bit. Also, I noticed there are some assassins that are speccing into dark damage. That's also good too, just because the majority of your skills do dish out dark damage. Yes, so this does dark damage, this does dark damage, and so does this one. Oh, these three, just these three skills. Which is why a lot of people like to spec into dark, because they do quite a bit. But I'll talk about the skill build in just a second. I think none of this really matters. No, it doesn't. And that's where I'm at right now. Still a lot more improvements I could be making, definitely, of course. But I'm getting quite strong. Actually, I'm registering as one of the top DPSers in almost any party I go to for Dvorak. Which is nice. Although if I go for Deathmark, it's going to be definitely lower. Okay, now with that out of the way, let's go into my skill build. So there are two skill builds that I like to go for. This is your primary DPS one. Or, not, this may not be correct, guys. Don't say, like, this is not exactly how you should be doing it, but this is how I like to do it. I like to go for just like single target DPS oriented build with max lucky stars. Fragmented stars, some people either like to go for, they like to not go into thrown weapon mastery at all, and instead put points into soul grind for more damage, which is obviously fine. That's what they like to do. But I like to go into just focusing more on dealing consistent DPS, because also just because for the fact that I don't really like to have to use micromanage too many skills. 9 points in Star Chaser, 8 points in Star Flurry, or you can do like, 8 points and then 9 points in Star Flurry. I believe the damage is about the same, more or less. I think. Or maybe not. Maybe I want to go here. Alright, that might be better. Okay, and then Thrown Weapon Mastery, it gives you a little bit more weapon attack. Some people do not go for this. I do. I don't really notice anything wrong with it. Although, if there is a much more experienced assassin who wants to show me whether or not it does work or doesn't, please be sure to leave some feedback in the comment section below. So if you do want to correct me on if I'm doing anything wrong, you are more than welcome to, but just be polite about it, and also more importantly, make sure you back it up with evidence or facts. Okay? Shadow Cutter maxed out, you want to have Lucky Stars and Shadow Cutter macroed into each other as much as you can. So that's why this thing's not really showing. What I do to macro, or this is how you macro, I believe it's, or is it? Oh yeah, no, it's actually right. Where is it? There you go, macro settings. Then my macro key is A, and then I do that. I believe you can macro these in whenever you want to as well. Yeah, we'll check that in just a sec. Okay. Shadow Burst, because Shadow Burst actually deals damage with both stars, I think. Yes, they're affected by the weapon in each hand. Soul Grind does not. It only works on the weapon in your right hand. But that's why I don't use it, although some people like to. And then you always want to have Fatal Strikes maxed out, no matter what build you're going for. As for speccing into a Deathmark build is more for party utility, because if the boss drops under 30%, every party member will deal more damage to that target, which is why this is a good skill to go for. So this is what you do, you put 2 points in there, you go ahead and fully max that out, and you max out Fatal Strikes. Lucky Stars. Fragment Star. No, actually, and then... No, you don't go Fragment Star. Alright, no, you just go here. There you go. Sorry about that. All the way. Okay, now you can either go for Shadow Arts or Death Sentence. Death Sentence kind of is the same thing as Mark of Death, only just like a little bit worse. So I don't go for that. Instead, I just put more points into Shadow Arts for better burst damage over here. Kind of like that. Although you can spec it around a little bit more. Once we raise the level cap, you'll get more SP, so you'll eventually be able to max out everything, I think. But for the time being, this is how you budget your stats. I will be releasing an assassin guide later on, which means there's going to be a much more detailed explanation for each of these skills and whatnot, but that's how I do it. Alright, okay. So now let me just double check to see if the macro works. Throws that out. Oh, okay, and it keeps going, and then when these go off cooldown... Okay, then in that case, you should just like macro literally every single skill into your thing. So, like that, I think. Which means it'll use every skill. I gotta respec this 1 sec. Here, here, here. Good. Right? Yes. Okay. And then it should just use everything. Okay, it does. Alright, never mind. So then just macro every single skill into your macro, and you can do everything. That's actually pretty broken. Alright, anyways, that's gonna be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. It was a bit unorganized, I do apologize for that, but I hope you didn't mind. I don't know, it's a bit more of a intimate atmosphere because I'm talking like as if I'm talking directly to you guys. But yeah, I won't leave you guys here any longer. I will see you in the next video. Take care.